know.
Well, good evening and welcome to About the Valley, the TV version,
Right,
because we also have the radio version. I want to mention which will be going to 12:30 on Sundays starting this week.
right, on
And my
WCRN.
co-host on that is Jeannie Hebert. She
Right,
does the second half with me,
mm-hmm,
and we update you on what's going on in the valley.
right. Yeah, we're
And,
always busy, that's for
yeah,
sure.
and
A lot happening.
of course, a week from Saturday,
Big event.
yep, the 16th, and right in this building here,
Yeah, right in the high
in the
school,
high school
Northbridge High
field
School,
house.
field house, yep,
Yes,
is the 21st annual Home and Community Expo.
21 years now.
21 years, yeah.
Did you start that?
No, I've been with the chamber for 10 years.
Oh,
It was
okay.
called the Home and Business Expo, but we changed it to the Home and Community Expo because it really showcases the community.
Oh, it does.
It's not just a B2B, it's certainly a B2C.
Right.
And we encourage everyone in the valley to come. It's a family event.
It's, I encourage people from outside of the valley
Yeah, to
who
find out
want
what's
to
going
learn
on.
about the valley to come in because it's a great place to see what the valley's all about,
Yeah, it
what we
really
have here
is.
for business.
It really is. Yeah,
And,
we have so much going on, and many of you that are watching go every year, and we thank you for that. And we try to make it more exciting every year. This year's the day before St. Patrick's Day, so we're really capitalizing on that date. We have a little leprechaun that will be running around. He might tap you on the shoulder and give you some tickets to some event that's going on. Maybe a sporting event, maybe a play, maybe something at Hanover, or
yeah, wow.
something going on at the DCU Center.
Yes.
And that will be happening. We also, everyone who comes in will be handed a sheet of paper that will ask you to visit our Pot of Gold sponsors. When you go to that booth, we've got secret questions you can ask, and you get an answer for that secret question. And get a stamp. When you finish all your stamps, you can enter to win some really big, fabulous prizes.
I think that's highlighted in this week's Tribune.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
so you can check that out in the Valley Tribune.
Yeah, it's actually the Valley Express, Blackstone Valley
Oh, but
Express.
okay. Both of them came in today, and I looked at both, so I'm getting mixed up here.
It's in the Blackstone Valley Express.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's virtually free
Yes.
admission. If you pay the $2, that is a donation to the food bank.
Yep.
And if not, you can bring in a non-perishable food item, which again will go to the food bank. And we do have free coupons everywhere. I'm going to leave some here too if people want to come in and get some free coupons. Or you can download them off our website at blackstonevalley.org.
Go down to Shaw's and get some Chef Boyardee.
Right?
You
Yeah.
know, and bring it in, and there's your admission.
Prego and some spaghetti, and that would be
Yeah,
a nice meal
spaghetti.
for someone
Yeah.
that's less fortunate than you are.
Yes.
And the Piece of Bread Food Pantry is a great organization, and they really help a lot of people in the Blackstone
If you
Valley.
ever check them out, it's amazing how many
Yeah.
people they serve. You don't realize.
Wednesday nights is dinner every week, and
Yeah.
it's always full. And it's families, elderly. So it's a great organization, and we're proud to support it. And actually, they're working together with Leslie Reichert and her team to develop homeless shelters in the valley. So we support
Yep.
that as well. And Leslie will be there. She's got a booth there. We've got a number of nonprofits that will be there, including Sam Dart, which is the Central Mass Disaster Animal Rescue Training, and Joanne Griffin with her Australian Shepherd Dylan will be there, and of course we have Iron Shoe Petting Zoo from Uxbridge,
Yes.
and those are rescued farm animals. The families love that, and he's got some new animals this year, and Southwick Zoo will be there also with the newest baby animal that was born at the zoo.
It's amazing how many animals they have that are born there.
I know. Yeah, really terrific. One year we had an armadillo, one year we had a kangaroo, so you never know what they're going to be bringing in. And Many Feet Alpaca Farm from Grafton will be there with their alpacas. They're so cute. They look like stuffed animals. They're just so gorgeous. And of course, Unibank as our presenting sponsor, and they always have a crowd at their booth. They always have some really innovative game to play and some great tchotchkes that they give away.
Yeah, they have some good gifts they give out.
Yeah, they really do. They really are community-minded. We love Unibank and all of our partners, for that matter. Milford Federal Savings Bank is sponsoring the Chowder Festival.
Yes.
So
And,
come and have lunch on us. We've got 5 restaurants participating, and each one makes a unique type of chowder. So come in and taste it. Vote for your favorite chowder, and see if your favorite chowder wins. And then we also have a judged portion of with the same restaurants. And we've got Senator Mike Moore as a judge, our leprechaun, and then a representative from Milford Federal Savings Bank will
those
be
are the
there.
3 judges?
Those are our 3 judges.
I know Mike Moore definitely wants to be a judge.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
told me
He always
loves
wants
the
to.
chowder.
Yeah, Joe McKenna's usually a judge, but we get complaints we have too many politicians. But we might let him in anyway because he likes chowder. So
But
we'll see.
all the state
They're all
representatives
going to be there.
are going
They
to be
will all
there,
be
and
there.
state senators.
As well as mascots, we've got the Pirates.
Yes.
We've got the Pirate from the Pirates. We've got
The
Braveheart.
indoor football.
The arena
Arena
football
football.
at the DCU, and we'll be giving away tickets, which is great. They've donated some tickets. And we've got the Bravehearts will be there. We'll be giving away tickets.
Yes.
The Paw Sox will be there. They're going to be giving us some tickets. They're the Paw Sox for one more year.
So
So Paw and Sox
be the
will
last
be there.
time you can watch them in Pawtucket.
Yeah. And the last time you'll probably see Paw and Sox because it's going to be the polar bear
Yeah.
after this when they're the Woo Sox at Polar Park. So come say hello to them. And we're going to have Marty the Meerkat from Premier Realty, and he'll be running around. And I heard today that he's going to be dressed in St. Patrick's Day garb. He'll have on a vest and a hat.
It is St. Patrick's Day Eve.
Right.
The day before.
Murphy's step dancers will be performing.
Yeah.
They're going to stroll through and they'll be performing, and Family Karate will be there. Those amazing police dogs from Uxbridge will be doing their due diligence and showing you their maneuvers.
They actually handle the valley.
They do.
Yeah, they assist any of the departments within the valley.
They do. They're great. And so amazing. Bear is the main dog, and he just amazes me at his brilliance, and the way that they handle him is just perfect. So that's all. There's always a crowd in the auditorium for that. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about having those performers
Yeah,
there.
the exhibits are in the field house, but you go further than that. I know the entry to the high school turns into a big petting zoo.
Right, that's the lobby,
Yeah,
and
the
that's
lobby.
sponsored by Sabres Bank, so they're going
Yeah.
to be in there. And there's always fun going on in
Yeah.
the lobby. We have games set up for the family. There'll be Husbands for Hire, who's been there, I think, for all 21 years.
Yeah.
Ed Mansfield and his crew. We've got Millbury Federal Credit Union is a big supporter of ours. They'll be there. We've got Marty Green.
Oh.
My predecessor, Marty Green
Yeah.
Realty, he always has a big booth there. Bobo the Clown, he's going to
Yes.
be doing his
His
balloon
ties.
sculptures. He's amazing. So he'll be there, and he stays there until the last child is happy. Precious One Child Care will be there. We've got some face painting. Whiten Community Center always has a big display and lots of games and family entertainment going on. Dr. Spratt from Seeds of Hope Chiropractic, he'll be there, and he does adjustments and assessments. So that's always fun. And this year we've got a whole corner for the Blackstone Valley Education Hub. We're going to have students from Northbridge and Uxbridge
That
there.
is something to check out.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a student in high school in Northbridge or Uxbridge, and eventually even more.
It will be all of the schools, but our 2 pilot programs are with Northbridge and Uxbridge.
Yeah.
And we'll have some equipment there, and the students will be demonstrating their engineering skills and what they're learning through their curriculums that we started through the BV Ed Hub right at their schools, with laser cutters and CNC machines and all of the advanced manufacturing training
This is something to really check out. If your kid wants to get into Valley Tech, and it's almost impossible now.
Well, there's 650 on a wait list every year,
Yeah.
and the training that we're offering through the Ed Hub and at their schools, of course, isn't going to be the premier BV Tech training, but it will be credentialed.
Yes.
And it will be custom curriculums with advanced manufacturing, and they probably will be employed by the time they leave school. These are for the students that want to go to work.
You have a lot of local companies that are going to be working with you
Right.
to hire these kids.
Exactly. Yeah,
So-
they're really excited. These companies are very excited because we're helping to build their workforce. You know, Riverdale Mills, They're very excited. They have the hardest time getting anyone to work there. I mean, they actually make their own wire
Right.
from the raw materials. So imagine the types of skills, employable skills that these people learn for that. And they can make a very good living with no student debt
Yeah.
at
Yes.
all.
I mean, they don't pay bad.
No, there is no one of these jobs, even entry level, that is minimum wage.
Right.
They're all above minimum wage. I would say most of them in the $50,000-$60,000 range.
And you
So,
might do better if you walk in with a good background.
right.
Because then
Oh
they're
yeah,
going to say
if
they
you've
really
got
need you.
credentials, yeah, you'll
Yeah.
get a higher wage. But within 10 years, imagine by the time you're 27 making six figures.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening, with no student debt.
Exactly. I
And
mean,
this is happening. Omni Control Technologies, they're going to be hiring up to 40 employees. They were just purchased by NIBE. They've got some huge contracts. They're growing. They're taking more and more space in the mills. We got to get Peter on the show here so he can talk
Yes,
about the
you do.
amazing contracts, what he's doing, working with the MBTA. There's a lot going on in the Blackstone Valley that people just are not aware of.
you know the other thing, you're not spending 2 hours or an hour a day, 2 hours a day traveling to work.
Right. Yeah.
Save on gas.
In your home, you've got a lot of quality family time because you're not
Yeah,
spending
you're home at a decent
stressfully on the
hour.
Mass Pike for 2 to 3 hours
Right.
because, there's been an accident or something going on. And we talked about this before. Getting in and out of Boston or in that
it's a
area is a
nightmare.
nightmare. I said I have a 9 o'clock meeting at the State House. If I leave 5 minutes after 6, I'm late.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
right.
3 hours, even getting into town, parking, and everything
It's
else.
ridiculous.
It's awful.
And,
Yeah.
and 128 is even worse.
Yeah, it's
if you
bad.
if you're working on the 128 belt,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And the valley is beautiful. It
It
really
is.
is beautiful. And we have a lot of manufacturing partners here. And it's not the old type of manufacturing. This
No,
is
this
clean,
is all new.
beautiful. You're wearing white coats.
Yeah.
You're a technician. You're an
Yeah.
engineer and a technician. So it's great working conditions. It's good pay. And you can't find a better place to live than the Blackstone Valley.
Oh,
It's
I
really
know.
beautiful. It really is. I get that from people who come in here from Boston, people in the State House. They come to visit to see what we're doing, and they go, wow, what a beautiful place. I recently was offered the opportunity of giving Mike Keneally, the new Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, with Dave Moradian, Representative Dave Moradian, a tour of the Blackstone Valley, and he was shocked. He said, how beautiful is this place?
They don't realize it.
Yeah.
We got a phone call. I was waiting
Yeah.
for when his phone call was going to
Oh,
come
we get a
through.
phone call.
Yeah,
Wow.
right away. Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Hey, good evening.
Hi, Barry.
Good. I'd like to thank Harry and Jeannie. I'd like to thank you for all the hard work you do with the new Linwood Educational Collaborative, and I just heard a lot of good things. I want to thank you for all your efforts on that.
I
And
appreciate that.
you don't know if you don't ask. And what I'm wondering about is, as you know, the town is looking at upgrading LaSalle Field and maybe some of the other athletic fields in town. And as you know, there's been one private business that basically has helped take over and do a lot of work at the old Linwood Field. Harry, if you're familiar with that. And I was just wondering if, by chance, if the town cannot come up with any innovative ways to fund the new upgrades or whatnot, would it be possible to reach out to all your contacts within the chamber to see if there's anything that they would want to help out or help sponsor, to upgrade the fields in town? And I mean, it's also a benefit to to their workers, and also upgraded fields would also maybe attract people who would want to move here. So I mean, there's a lot of positives to it, but that old saying, you don't know if you don't ask.
Right. Well, just another tidbit, the Friends of the LaSalle Field, we've given them a booth at the Expo. It's a nonprofit that was started. So please come to the Expo and you can talk to them and make a suggestion. And the Chamber is very supportive of this. So we certainly can work with them to reach out to some of the businesses to see if we can do some fundraising. And I'm always working with our legislators to find out if there's any funding or if we can put any line items in the budget or if there's any opportunity within the government to help with organizations such as this. So we certainly will keep that in mind. Yeah.
Right.
Right, because I think last week Mike Moore was on, and I asked Mike Moore if because I know Mike years ago when he was with the environmental police.
Right.
But now the other thing was is he said that there's that he would entertain questions on that. And maybe you could also reach out to our good representative David Meridian and Ryan Fatman and see if maybe them all working together in harmony could help bring some funds to help the town because it's going to be quite a gauntlet on the taxpayers with everything that they're getting faced with, and just a thought. And like I said, you don't know if you don't ask.
Exactly, and I always believe in being a mosquito. You should always be there and talk to your reps and your senators, and you never know what types of grants are available. I mean, look at the MassWorks grants that we've been able to get to repair the streets in Northbridge, and actually the historic restoration grants we got for the town hall.
We've got a number of them.
Yeah.
Done a great job there.
Having some of the legislators' staff look into this, they might come up with some grants that might even be available, and grants are better than low-interest loans.
Right, I know
Yeah,
they
you
do
don't have to
a lot
pay 'em
of
back.
Milford and Upton.
Exactly, and we can also look into, I'm not sure if the LaSalle Field is in an agricultural section, because there's a number of funding that's available for any
No,
types of
unfortunately,
entity.
it's not.
No, it's not. Oh, okay, yeah. But you never know. You're right. You don't know what you don't know. So it's
Right.
always good to look into it. And
See, we're building a new school,
yeah,
and Mike
Yeah.
said, well, you could but we can't do that because it's not attached to it.
yeah, in that respect. But there might be some other types of grants or something that's even federally. We can talk to Jim McGovern's office.
Right,
and
I
see
mean,
if there's some federal
I was,
grants that
I was
might be
thinking about
available.
that,
Yeah,
Harry. What
that's-
if the children from the new Bomber NES school could use that field? So, I mean,
Yeah, but
that's
the state,
one nexus to tie into that.
unfortunately, the state
thought.
doesn't look at it that way, Barry. That's why when they built the new high school, they had to put those fields up on the top of that hill
Yeah.
that no one can get to.
Well, we get to it.
Yeah, but it wasn't a great spot, but that's what they had to do because it
Yeah.
had to be close by.
Right. It had to be
Right.
attached, just
And
about attached to the
Even
school.
though they said, well, look, the LaSalle Field is what we use for our events, doesn't matter, it's not
Yeah, it's
right
not
there.
attached. So, the other thing is to maybe see if there's some kind of way to get a variance or whatever. But it's never hurts to talk to the legislature, and, they have a really sharp staff. I mean, I know
Oh, yes,
Senator
I
Moore's staff,
know,
one of them just
Zach
passed the
and
bar.
Keith
And they've helped me
and
tremendously.
Taylor.
Yeah, and Zach and Shelley and Doreen in Senator Moore's office, they're terrific.
Mhm,
So,
excellent, yes.
Yeah, so, I certainly will bring it to their attention. If you're coming to the expo, all of the legislators and the Friends of the LaSalle Field will be there.
Yeah.
So that's
Well,
a good venue.
I've already
Bring
been
them together.
talking to them.
Yeah, well, get some of your friends too, because the more people that talk about it, the more attention it's going to get, and have them send emails, and
Right.
that way, these are their constituents. This translates into votes, and
Yes.
they're
Right,
going to
right.
give that attention.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I want to thank you again, and your efforts have not gone unnoticed. And
Thank you.
stay safe and stay well. And
Thanks,
thank you,
you too.
Harry, for the excellent show.
Thank
Okay,
you.
hope we see you a week from Saturday.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Barry's a good-
as I said, the Friends of LaSalle Field will be there along with some other nonprofits.
Yes.
This is,
We'll be there with the
yeah, you'll be there.
WCRN
With
booth.
CRN, you'll be interviewing people.
Yeah.
We've got InThink Agency will be there, and they'll be
We're gonna have
taking
a
free
couple of
videos.
our on-air people there,
Yeah.
and we're trying to get Peter to come down, Peter Blute.
Oh, okay, great.
No commitment yet,
Yeah,
but
Zip is going to come down, so he'll be there. Zip Fell will be
oh, he
down
is.
there.
Oh,
Yep, he is gonna
okay,
come
yeah.
down, so
You'll have to
Zip will
come
be
over
there.
and say hello.
Yeah,
and
he'll come over. He's going to help us
with
out.
the
He's got
Dr.
his show in the morning
Dr.
on
Sean
another
Sawyer
station.
does his show
Yeah.
now. He's going to be there for a little while.
Great.
And Mike Delmonico has a show on
Yeah, and Mike has a booth there.
and he has a booth as
So
well.
that's great. So make sure you visit Mike's booth too, because he is extremely innovative. He's got some
And-
wonderful ideas that can really help
Jeannie
you.
and I have a show there.
Yeah, we do.
So, And it's become more popular. That's why they
Yeah.
moved it up.
Yeah, because the Valley's a great place and we have a
It
lot
is.
going on. We recently had the listening session on the Family Medical Leave Act, which is extremely
Yes,
confusing.
we wanted to get into that.
Yeah, we're the first chamber in the state to have a listening session. So we had the Deputy Chief of Staff from the Department of Labor, Jessica Meridian, was there, and we also had the director of the new department of the Family Medical Leave. He was
Imagine that, you're
there,
going to set up a
Bill.
whole department now? What's this cost
Yeah,
the
I
state?
know. This all came out of a referendum, which is, again, the worst way to govern.
I don't think people understand what's going
Oh,
on here.
it's really bad.
Last election, there was
Yeah.
a referendum ballot. It was a ballot question
Yeah.
about family leave.
Well, this all is because there were several referendum questions.
Yes.
There was that, there was the $15 increase, there was the question about the nurses.
Yes.
There was, oh my gosh, what else was there? There were several.
There were 4, I think, in all.
4 or 5
Yeah.
proposed referendum ballot questions. And referendum is never a good way to govern because
No.
it's not well thought out. When you come out of a store and there's somebody with a clipboard that's trying to get you to sign a petition, believe me, no matter if that person tells you he's volunteering, he or she's volunteering, they're working for a special interest group.
Yes.
They're getting paid, and they have ulterior motives. It's not always in your best interest to sign on to that petition. You really have to think about it. It might sound good the way they have it worded, but it's not good. And that's what was happening with
They're
these
getting paid
referendums.
by signature, so they'll
Yeah.
lie to you to get your name
Yeah,
on
they
there.
will. They will. And they make it sound like a wonderful thing. So this ended up through business organizations and the chambers of commerce like ours bringing to the attention of these business organizations like NFIB and AIM and RAM that this was happening, and they were on top of it because they're and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Massachusetts Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, that this was happening. We had a rally at the State House. There were so many people there. Oh, I know what the other one was. It was the tip wage.
Yes.
Yeah, because they want to increase the minimum wage for restaurant
Well, for
employees.
anybody who works for tips.
For tips, right. And we even had employees there for that, saying we don't want you to do that
No,
because we live off of our tips. They make a lot of money off
Yeah.
their tips. Because you and I were talking about that. We never give less than 20%.
Right.
You know, ever. They make good money that
And
way.
you know, if you raise their salaries, the restaurants are
gonna
going to
give
raise
less.
their
Yeah.
prices, and they may lose customers.
Exactly. They may lose customers, and also because people know that their salary's been raised, they're going to get less tips.
Yeah.
So it was not a good thing to do. But the paid, it was called paid family medical leave, okay? And what the original was that it was going to be 100% paid. It was going to be 32 weeks off for anyone that was taking time for a loved one or someone in their family to take care of them, and they would get paid up to $1,000 a week.
A new birth in the family.
A new birth, something like that. And it just was too much of a burden on our employers with everything else that was happening. They just put the sick pay through and then the $15 an hour. So what happened is the governor saw the outrage of all of the people that were there. I mean, so many people were there, we couldn't really fit in the State House. We went across the street to a larger room in Ashburton. And the governor put together what was called the grand bargain, so it was a compromise. And one of the compromises was the Family Medical Leave Act. So it is going to be a law. It is going into effect July 1st. It's not completely decided a lot of what's going to happen, but on July 1st, you're going to have money taken out of your paycheck. It's
Yes.
mandatory, whether you want to or not. And number one, that's really not
I don't think a lot of
kosher.
people realize.
Yeah.
They think, well, my employer is going to pay it. No.
No.
You are going to pay it.
The employer, if they have more than 25 employees, the employer has to put in a percentage. But the employee also has to put in a
Yes.
percentage. And it's mandatory. Whether you're 70 years old and you're working and you're never going to be using this, and there's no age limit. So if you're a student, you're 16 years old and you're working, you have to pay into it.
Yeah.
So it's not a good thing.
You could
We
pay
had-
you
yeah.
could pay into this as a student all the way through college, and then you get out of college and you move out of Massachusetts. You can't even.
You can't even get that back. You'll never get it.
Yeah.
Not like Social Security where you pay into it and then eventually you do get
Yeah,
get it back.
if you live long enough to retire, you'll get it back.
Right. But we had a room full of disgruntled employers from the Blackstone Valley, some with employees that only worked a short number of hours, that were over 65, but they were
Yep.
trying to make a little bit of pin money, and they're going to have more money taken out of their paycheck.
Right.
Even though their employers don't want to do it, they have to do
Yeah,
it.
you're going to be mandated by the law.
Yeah, you're going to be mandated by the law, whether, like the chamber, I have 3 employees.
Right.
They're going to, I don't have to put anything in because I only have 3 employees, but I have to take money out of their paycheck because that's the law
Yeah.
come July 1st.
You pay state and federal taxes, but if you don't make a lot, you're going to get it all back.
Yeah.
This, you get nothing back.
No. And it just is not well thought out, and it's because it's referendum government at its worst, right
Yep.
there. So please let your voice be heard. It's very hard to repeal a law, but it can be done.
Yeah.
If this went through as a legislative law, it would be well thought out, well planned out, and
It would have went through committee for almost
Yeah.
a year, and they would have looked at every aspect
And
of
they
it.
would
Then
have
it goes on the
listened to
floor for
you.
debate, and
Yeah.
they look at it again.
But this doesn't happen when it goes right to the ballot. There's always a special interest group
Yeah.
that has something. I think that, someone thought they were going to make some money off of it, and it backfired because of the grand bargain. But the person who's paying is us.
No.
As always,
Yeah.
the employee is paying
And
for
there's
it.
no exemption for any employee. There is
No.
exemptions if you're how many employees?
25 or fewer. As an employer, there's an exemption for 25 or fewer
Right, so
employees.
if you're a small, real small
Yeah.
employer, you'll have an exemption,
Yeah,
but none of your employees will.
yeah.
If you're, we have 2.5 employees here.
Municipalities are exempt,
Oh,
and legislators are exempt.
well, they're all, they always manage that.
Yeah, but municipalities are exempt, so they've got a big roar out of that when that was announced in the room. But we had about 20
Well,
employees in the room, and I had 26 on our Facebook for live.
State employees are exempt from income tax they don't pay state income tax on their state retirement.
Yeah,
But if you're retired independently, or if you're drawing on a 401,
Yeah.
you pay state income tax.
so I know a lot of you out there aren't aware that this is going into effect, and it's going into effect July 1st. There's
Yeah.
no stopping it.
Not that far away.
No, let your legislators know you don't want this. You don't,
Yeah.
it's not good for you.
Hopefully
it's a headache.
they'll look at it and do
Yeah.
something.
It's going to take a while to repeal it now that it's a law.
Yeah.
But it could be repealed just like the tech tax a few years back. That went
Oh
into
my
law.
God, that was
and
a
that was a
nightmare.
nightmare. And George Peters, I worked with George Peterson, and Dave was working for George then, and several of our legislators to get that repealed, and we finally did. And that was horrible, horrible.
They
And that was
didn't even
another
know-
referendum.
They didn't even know how to put it into effect. It was
No,
so confusing.
It was really a mess.
And this is
Yeah.
not much better. It's still confusing.
It is.
Even the
I
people-
printed it out and read it, and it's
Well,
such
the people
jargon.
you had at that meeting
Yeah,
had a hard time understanding a lot of it.
yeah. And I was in the meeting, and I still have a
Yeah.
hard time understanding it.
So I mean, this is, and come the 1st of July, you're going to have to start deducting
Yeah.
that out of paychecks.
And I want to stress again, your legislators did not do this.
No, they
It
didn't.
was referendum. So please don't blame your legislators, but see if we can work with them to make it better or change it
Yeah.
or repeal it, because it's a good idea if it's done properly. And what these, I know I was talking with someone outside of Trader Joe's, and he's, oh, Connecticut has it, Rhode Island has it. They do, but it's 100% employee funded. It's a totally different law, totally different animal. So, please look into it, talk to legislators, but come July 1st, you will be having more taken
Look
out
at
of
the
your
burden
paycheck.
it puts on the employer.
Yeah.
If you have someone that's going to be out for 6 months,
Oh, for the employer, it's a real nightmare
Yeah.
because you have someone out for 6 months, you have to hire someone to take their place.
yeah,
If it's a W-2 type of job, and chances are it's going to be,
Yeah.
when the original employer comes back, you have to take them back, and you have to probably have to let the other person go,
Right.
and now you're responsible for their unemployment.
If you can find someone
Yeah.
that'll work for just 6 months.
Yeah, because you have to tell them that we're just
Yeah,
hiring
you're,
you to
you're
take
only here
their
for
place.
while someone is out.
But then you're responsible for their unemployment insurance, when they leave.
Yeah, then they can collect unemployment
Yeah.
for next year.
And it's the burden of
And-
the employer to
yeah,
pay their portion of that.
Yeah, well, then they get assessed at a higher rate.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really, it's a burden. This whole thing is a burden, and it's really a mess.
Yeah,
So-
The thing is, that people saw through the nurse referendum.
They did. In the beginning, they didn't because, the way that it was presented for
Well, it
people
made
to
it sound
sign on
good.
made it sound really good. But again, the hospitals weren't going to pay for that.
No.
We were going to pay for that.
Well, we had enough
Yeah.
communications from the other side,
Yeah.
the opponents, that people understood, wait a minute, maybe this is not as good as it
No,
sounds.
it's not. It's a good idea to fine tune it, but do it the right way.
Yes.
Don't go pig-headed and, whole hog on something that's going to benefit a special interest group.
Right.
If the ideas are there and they're a good idea, then present them to your legislator and have it done the right way. Don't go referendum. My gosh, it's a terrible way to do it. That's what happened with cannabis. I am getting so many calls. We don't want recreational. We don't want this. Well, you voted it in. It was on the ballot.
Yeah.
It got voted in. There's nothing
Well,
we can do
if you-
about it.
Whether you like it or not, your fellow people voted
Yeah.
it in,
Yeah.
and by a large number.
And what happens with referendum is it's written by the industry that's going to benefit from it. So that's what happens.
Yeah. I get people, because I'm on a planning board, saying,
Yeah.
well, that are dead against it. I got some that are 100% behind it. And they said, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to vote on the planning board to allow them, because that's what the law
you have
says. I
to.
mean, I can't say, well, I don't like it, so no.
We have to allow it because that's how it was voted, unless your town voted a moratorium against it altogether.
And here again, Northbridge voted to go ahead.
Yeah.
There was
So
that
now the
option was put out
town
there.
has to deal with it the best way that it
Yeah.
can. And again, the federal government is not enforcing it, but they don't support it. So if at some point they decide they're going to enforce it, it's not going to be legal anywhere.
Right.
But that hasn't happened yet. But there's still the risk that it might. It's a slim chance, but
Well,
you
they
know.
just started getting into the banking system, and they got
Yeah.
some banks now
And there's
that are
more
allowing.
banks now. There was only one. There was
Yeah.
just Century.
Right.
Now there's a few more.
Yeah,
that-
I don't know how they get around. Well, I guess they're not federally licensed.
Right. Yeah. So
But-
it's a mess. And what's happening now is a lot of the big Canadian companies are coming in and buying up all these small cannabis companies.
Yes.
So it's going to be like a monopoly of very big cannabis companies that are going to be controlling the whole industry.
You're
So
right.
that's
what
going on
happens.
behind the
There's
scenes.
tons of money
So
to be
it's-
made. Yeah, and
Big fish is eating up the little fish.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
happens.
And a lot of people don't realize that, but many of the smaller cannabis companies that started are already being bought out. A lot of the attorneys, the larger attorney firms, are working for these larger cannabis companies, and they're regulating, going
Well-
in, taking them over, and
You know,
Yeah.
being on a planning board, I've seen what their regulations are and what they
Yeah.
got to do. You almost got to have a lot of money just to get started.
yeah, you do. You
What
have to
you-
have
the-
investors.
Yeah, the way you got to build the building that they're in, and the way it's got to be set up, and just the cost of to put your inventory in.
Well, because the law was put in, it's like the cart before the horse.
Yes.
So the DOH, the Department of Health, was regulating and making up the rules as they went along. It's like the cannabis companies were coming to them and saying, this is what we want to do. And they'd say, well, let me bring it back to my team and let's see. So they would look it over and see what the industry
Yep.
wanted, and then they'd kind of build the requirements around it, which is, again, isn't a good way. But because it was referendum and it went in,
Well,
that's
was
what
it?
happened.
Yeah, the state was going crazy just trying to get together
Yeah.
what we're going to do, how they set up their board, and the whole bit. And
Well, because it came in kind of with a misconception that it was a license to print money. You know,
Yeah.
so people, everybody, it was like a gold rush.
Well, that's the other thing.
You know?
All these towns, we're gonna make a ton of money.
Yeah, and it hasn't happened much yet. I
No.
mean, it's an industry with the medical, it's an industry. I looked at it that way as a manufacturing industry, agricultural industry. And if you developed, I did help with some of the development of contracts for some of the towns so that so much money could go to the schools and the library. And it was
Right.
done. And then this whole recreational thing came in and boom, it was a free-for-all.
Oh,
So, I don't know. Hopefully, you know, this is going to work out okay, and, you know, we'll be able to get a handle on it. But, I mean, look what happened in Leicester. Those poor people in Leicester. My God, there were people on their lawns and
you're not gonna see that
lines
as
and
much
lines
now.
of cars, and it was like the gold rush. It was
Oh,
like
yeah.
the movies with, you
Yeah.
know, there's gold in them there hills. You know, it was
But
crazy.
being the only one around,
Yeah.
in fact, the only one east of the Mississippi. Yeah. But-
It was crazy, and I really felt bad for the town because the town itself was suffering. The people in the town, they
Yeah.
couldn't even maneuver.
No, I
Traffic
know.
it was a shutdown, and you know that's the
You're not gonna
last
see
thing
that
you
as
want.
much anymore because you're getting
Yeah,
more and more
yeah.
opened up.
Yeah, but it was difficult to say the least. Poor Jim Hurley, he was retiring us, you know, and my goodness. So, and Leicester is a part of the Blackstone Valley. You know,
Yes,
they
it
are a
is.
town in the Blackstone Valley, so we do work with them. And, you know, it was difficult for them for a couple of weeks. It was a nightmare.
You know, you say that I was talking about that with Senator Moore, and he
Yeah.
says I'm old enough to remember when no one wanted to be associated with the Blackstone Valley.
Yeah, now
Now everybody
does.
wants to be a
Everybody
part
got-
of it.
the
I'm part of it. I'm
yeah,
part of it.
they are. Auburn just got
Yeah.
in.
We have
on
a brook that
2015.
flows into the Blackstone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, even because now we got the
The
national park, and now Worcester is, you know, we want in the national park. Well,
Yeah.
the way the national park was written, it includes the mills, and Worcester knocked down most of their mills because they didn't want to spend the money to refurbish them.
Yeah.
You know, it costs a lot more to
They didn't want to be
restore.
associated with them.
No, they knocked them down and built new, and that's not always better.
No.
And we here in in this part of the Blackstone Valley really work hard to restore, you know, rather than destroy. And, you know, it keeps our history going, and we're very fortunate in that respect that the people of the Blackstone Valley, they highly regard their history, and they work together to keep it vital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Worcester doesn't look anything like it did
no,
100 years ago.
no. Doesn't look anything like it did 50 years ago.
Right.
You know, I remember as a
Well,
little
even,
girl going into
Even 10 years ago, the Galleria's
No.
gone.
Well, exactly. Well, the Galleria was a big mistake. It kind
Right.
of cut the city in half. But prior to the Galleria, you know, it was kind of fun. I used to, you know, take the bus, meet my mother downtown after
Oh, yeah.
she got out of work, and that I think it was Wednesdays. Was it
Wednesday
Wednesdays?
was the night the stores stayed
Yeah,
open till
and
9.
I'd meet and we'd get dinner at Tupin's,
Yeah.
and we'd go, or a big treat would go to the Hong Fong for a Chinese meal,
Ah.
and we'd go shopping, spend some quality time with my mom.
Yeah,
And,
where you had
and
Denholm's,
everybody was walking, yeah, Denholm's
Kresge's,
and Kresge's. We'd
Werner
actually,
shops.
sometimes we'd eat at the counter at Kresge's or Woolworth's.
Yeah.
You know, get a grilled cheese. I remember that fondly. But there were people walking on the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas, you'd go down to see the lights because Denholm's had the big star that they would do, and
Yeah,
the best
well-
Santa Claus was at Denholm's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big building. It was beautiful at that time.
Yeah, that whole city was a whole different
Yeah, it was a
atmosphere.
totally different city.
Now,
I mean,
all-
downtown's looking better.
Yeah,
with,
but it's still banks and lawyers.
well, well, they brought, you know, QCC opened up downtown, and they've got the Oval there.
Yeah.
WBDC's done a great job with what they're doing. They're bringing more hotels, and they opened Central Street again, which is terrific to go in the city. And I think they're going to take over the Midtown Mall. Once they do that, that would be great because it really is a mess there. I hate to say it on Front Street.
The
It
Midtown
really
Mall
is.
was an experience to go into. You know what that used to be? That was American Supply.
Yeah, it was. I remember
Yeah.
that. I think my mom bought furniture there.
Yeah,
when I
I
was a little
shopped
girl.
there.
American Supply, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think my mother's living room set came from American Supply Company.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
the whole building.
Yeah, and actually Hebert Candies, we had a store in the Midtown Mall for a
Yeah.
little while. Yeah, but now it's not uniform. The awnings are all different neon colors, and it's right across from City Hall. It's hard to look at, so they need to work on that.
Yes.
Yeah, Front Street's
Yeah.
not.
That's quite a thing in there.
Yeah.
But
So
also, the pharmaceutical college has taken over most of downtown.
yeah. Charlie Monahan, he's done a really
He
good
has
job there.
grown.
Yeah, he has grown very much. Took over my alma mater, Forsyth,
Yep.
which was, down by the Fenway. Now they moved it to Cambridge. So, go figure. So that's part of of MCPH. So
I got to hand it to Charlie Monahan. He had a lot of foresight.
yeah, he did. He's
He
a
had
good man.
drugstores all over the city.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And
He
he
wa-
saw
and he helped
the-
a lot of young people get started.
Yeah. But he
in
saw
pharmaceutical.
he saw the writing on the wall, and privately owned drugstores weren't going to exist much longer.
No.
It had to be. You have to be a big chain now
Yeah.
to have a drugstore because of all the insurances and everything else, and you can't buy in the volume that they can.
Well, even our Hebert Candies, who goes to a specialty store anymore?
Yeah.
Very difficult. Everybody we don't have time. We all work. We have to go to one-stop shopping. And,
Yep.
when you go to Europe, it's different. I go to Italy, and still we go to the cheese shop, we go to the meat shop, we go
Right.
to, we go to the bread shop.
Yeah.
It's great, but they don't, it's not like that. They do have some supermercados now, which they haven't had, for probably the past 20 years. They do have supermercados, but, before that it was all
I
specialty.
think the towns are seeing some specialty
Yeah.
stores come back, though.
Yeah, it's very specialized, though. It's not like it used to be. I mean, we used to go to paper stores. Narcus remember, what was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to
The
go
Hallmark store.
in. And the leather, there was a leather shop downtown Worcester we used to go to.
Yeah.
There was Marcus, and then there was Narcus, I think, company was their name.
Narcus Company.
Yeah, and that was the paper and leather goods store, because I remember my mother bought me, when I went into junior high, a briefcase, and it was like, oh, I had a briefcase. I was such a nerd.
On Front Street, you had the pawn shops on Front Street.
I don't think my mother ever brought me there.
I bought a guitar in Front Street.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, when I was a
Yeah.
teenager. but
Oh, wow.
I never mastered it.
Lads. Where was Lads? I used to go to Lads and listen to music.
Yes, Lads
Yeah,
Record
Lads
Shop.
was
Where the heck
great.
was
You
that?
could go in the little booths and play the 45s. Used to take my
And-
allowance and buy Beatle records.
In Lincoln Mall, you had Pauline's Record Shop.
R.H. White's was
R.H.
there
White,
at
oh,
Lincoln
big store,
Plaza.
yeah.
I remember the jingle still.
Yep.
R.H. White's at Lincoln Plaza with
Lincoln
shopping
Plaza's
is
still
nice
there,
and
but it's
easy.
not the same Lincoln Plaza anymore.
No, it's better than it was. When
Yeah.
I first started in dentistry, I worked at Dr. Epstein's across the street at the foot of Great Brook Valley, and it was dangerous. We got robbed a couple times. I got robbed, and the dentist had to chase him out with a syringe out of the office. And I'm
Oh,
like,
my
I think I'm
God.
going to find a job in a suburb, not in Worcester. But and I remember going to pick up lunch at Lincoln Plaza, and some guys blocking me in wouldn't let me out of my car. I had to call the police to come let me out of my
Well,
car.
Remember, Shaw's had a store
Yeah,
across from the plaza.
yeah.
They closed it. It's now Bob's Discount Furniture.
Oh, yeah.
And one reason Shaw's got it, the theft rate was so high,
Oh,
they
yeah.
couldn't keep it open.
Yeah. I mean, I went into work one day, and we had gotten, the police had been there that night. Someone broke in, the alarm went off, and the perpetrator was hiding in the ceiling. They thought they could get drugs out of a
my
dentist.
God.
And it was a suspended ceiling, so he walked through, and oh, what a mess. But we used to mix amalgam with mercury then. We used to make our own amalgam, and he had spewed the mercury all
Oh.
over. So now it was a hazardous waste
Yeah.
site, and we had to have hazmat crew come in.
Yeah.
I mean, oh God, that was, it was an experience to be located in that area. So they've done a lot to clean up Worcester, and Lincoln Plaza is actually very nice right now.
Yeah.
But, it's just a different world
is.
world than we used to have. Yeah, you can't. I used to walk to school, go through the woods to walk to school. I went to Coolidge School in Shrewsbury, and can't do that anymore.
But downtown it was nice to walk around
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
could do some window shopping and stuff like that.
Yeah, hey, my mother used to say, go out and play, come back when the streetlights come on. You can't do that anymore.
my suit coats from Shaq's.
Oh, Shaq's, yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
Shaq's?
My brother-in-law used to work at Shaq's, yeah.
Pittsburgh and Worcester.
Yeah, right on Main Street in Worcester.
Yep.
Shack's Brothers, yeah, definitely.
Great clothes.
Yeah, how did we get on this subject? We were talking about the Home and Community
I
Expo.
know. I know.
Boy, did we get off track.
Oh, that's what this happens when I have Senator Moore
Well,
in.
Church Street. I used to buy
Oh.
all my clothes
You know, we had two or
at
three.
Louis.
We had
All
two
my
or three
clothes came from
jewelers. We had two or
Louis.
three jewelers on
Yeah.
Church Street. We had, well, we used to have a Star Market was on Church Street. Then it
Well,
became
Phillips.
Killian's.
I used to go to Phillips.
Yep.
They used to have your groceries come out on the little trolley and
Yes.
load your car. It was great.
Yep.
And Church Street, I bought all my clothes at Louis. I bought
Yep.
my daughter's clothes at Irene's.
Yep.
To shop at Irene's. Yeah, it was great. That was a beautiful place to go shopping. Was
You
Church
had
Street.
Bedard Furniture.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Northbridge had its own little downtown that was pretty exclusive.
There was the shopping center of the valley,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know.
I mean, I lived in Shrewsbury. I'd travel into Whitensville to buy my clothes. I
but
mean, that
it's
was
coming
great.
back at a limited basket
Yeah,
now
it is.
with a lot of specialty
Well,
shops.
Little Man, she's unbelievable.
Oh,
what
my-
she makes.
yes.
Oh my God, I love her stuff. And we've got some, specialty shops opening now there.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. We're going to be doing the sidewalk sale in June this year, and of course every November, we do Shop Small.
Yeah.
So Church Street really is a gathering place. We'd love to get more shops there, and it went through a transition.
Well, do you hear? Brashoni from Douglas wants to start a garden center
Oh, nice. Where?
across from Cormark.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
I would
that-
love that.
Right next to the new Gulf
Yeah.
on the corner there of
And
Main.
Yadco, that's great. I love that. I'm glad that they did that.
They did a great job
Yeah,
there.
they did a great job. That was a terrific place to put that.
But he wants to go right in that what looked like a parking lot.
Yeah,
And he
that's
wants
a perfect
to,
place for a garden center.
but he wants to do some boat rentals
Oh,
on the
love
arcade
that.
pond.
Love that. Love
And in
that.
the winter have a skating rink. It's all in the Tribune.
Oh, I'll have to read that.
And I already heard about it
Haven't had a
because he's
chance to
coming
read
into the
it.
planning board.
Oh,
and
that's
I
wonderful.
think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful idea.
He did get some
We'll support
flack
that.
online about it on Facebook because someone said, "How can you go down and develop that? There's a bald eagle living there."
Oh, well, they wouldn't be able to disturb the bald eagle.
No,
That's
but it's not gonna.
that's
It
protected.
won't bother the
No.
bald eagle.
Well, there's a bald eagle at Riverdale Mills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a priority. You know me with animals. I would
Right,
make sure.
but that the
But,
bald
yeah.
eagle, he probably lives on the island there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's gonna be a
The
problem.
bald eagle is protected.
it's not gonna be a problem
and
for the
We would make
swans.
sure. No, we can make sure that doesn't happen.
He's not. He's going to be renting paddle boats or rowboats or something like that. So
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would never be motor. You couldn't
No.
put motor on that. So yeah, paddle and even if that doesn't happen, that wouldn't be the worst thing.
but these are good recreation things that we need to bring into the valley.
Yeah.
Because we are going to build up tourism.
Yes, and actually I was sending some events over to the publisher of the Discover Central Mass Guide that will be coming out. And
Oh, good,
there's
yeah.
a lot happening in the area.
We've been forgotten for a
Yeah,
lot of years in the mass guides.
Yeah, we have. And I'm on their board of directors, their executive board actually. So we're bringing back, we're going to do Restaurant Week. We're going to do a
Oh.
Blackstone Valley Restaurant Week in June.
We got a lot of great
So that's
restaurants in
coming
the
up.
valley.
Yeah, and more information to come. But we've got the logo, and we're going to be launching a website for it. And we get all of the restaurants that aren't chain restaurants are going to be
Right.
included because we want to promote local. So you can get like a 3-course meal, a beautiful 3-course meal for $20.19 because it's 2019, and
Oh.
all inclusive. So
Oh,
where else
wow.
can you get a 3-course meal for $20.19? So we're recruiting all of the restaurants now. So far we've got very, very favorable reports from them, and people are signing on already. So so that'll be happening. So we've got a lot in the queue coming up for the
Yes.
Blackstone Valley. Like we said, there's a lot going on in the Blackstone
There
Valley.
is, and there's a lot. People say, why would
Yeah.
anybody come down here for tourism? Believe me, when they find out what's available, especially if you're historic, there's some
Yeah.
people that just tour the historic parks.
Yeah. And we're going to be connecting to, our bikeway, Greenway, to Rhode Island this year. So that's
Finally.
happening. Finally. So we still have the conservation areas to recruit, but We're looking at maybe including some on-road so that we can get it done.
Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to, but.
Yeah, because we just don't have the funds. DCR is doing a great job, though. I'm glad that DCR is handling it. There
Well-
are some areas where if we had the funding, we could do above, build out of wood or whatever above some of the conservation property, but we just don't
I
have the
tell
funding
everybody,
for it.
I'll tell you, whoever has influence, right here in Rockdale, the town owns a right-of-way
Yeah,
at the bottom of Beans Lane that goes all the way through the back, and you can actually see the trolley bridge, the abutments are still there on the Blackstone. It wouldn't be costly to put another bridge across.
well, that's what we're doing in the Blackstone Millville connector there.
Yep,
That's what took a little bit longer. They're using the trolley bridge in there to do
Yeah.
it. Well, we had to go through a lot of rigmarole because originally it was supposed to be equine certified, and I guess with that it's not equine certified, so we had to get that repealed. So there are going to be places that are equine certified, but there's not all of it. That's why we changed it from the Blackstone Valley Bikeway to the Blackstone Valley Greenway. Because there's going to be areas that are paved and there's going to be areas that are not going to be paved. But you can still ride your bike on it. It'll be like
Right.
stone dust.
right,
So, and that's pretty
But-
solid.
but there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
That works
but
well.
originally it had to be paved. It had to be, so many feet across for equine, and so we had to. That
Actually,
took a lot of
riding
time to
on
change that.
stone dust is better than
Yeah,
riding
and
on
that-
asphalt.
Yeah, so that's been taken care of, and now we can move forward. And DCR's been doing a good job, and we're excited about getting that. Supposed to be this spring, but I think it's going to be like this summer. We'll have the connector done and do the ribbon cutting and the whole bit. We'll make a big deal out of it.
But we still gotta get through Uxbridge.
Yeah, this conservation
North
property, we
Bridge.
got to get through there to connect it, and hopefully we'll get it done before I'm in a wheelchair. So.
I know. Wouldn't it be great to travel from Worcester to
48
Providence?
miles, 48 miles
Yeah.
once it's done, and that would be terrific. And we're also working with CMRPC to get the railroad reinstated so that we
Yes.
can get the rails from Worcester to Providence. Would that be great? You
I
can hop
know.
on
I gotta
any
get down
part
to
of the valley,
I gotta get
hop
down
on
to
the train,
Woonsocket
go into
Depot.
Worcester, or come out, or maybe go visit your friend that's in Blackstone.
Yeah.
Get on here, hop on the
I
train, get
know.
off in Blackstone. That would be terrific. I'd love that.
Well, like some people said to me, "Why are you working so hard to get that historic district?" Because it will give us an up,
It will. It gives you a leg up.
a leg
It
up.
makes
and-
you
yeah.
eligible for a lot of federal programs,
Yeah.
and there's a lot in
And
there.
it give people a reason to come to
Yeah.
Northbridge, to the Winesville district. They got shopping, they'll be eating, come on, that's what you gotta
Can
do.
ride their bike.
Ride their bikes, yeah.
So we'd love that.
I'd like to see instead of the Pan Mass, have it run the bikeway
Yeah, it'd be
as a
great.
fundraiser.
Yeah, like we have the Greenway Challenge.
Yeah,
Really increase that.
but
And,
that'd be a great fundraiser, and they could ride their bikes, and it'll be safe all the way down.
Well, we'll just keep promoting it and putting it in the queue and see if we can get this done. We've come a long way.
Yes.
We've got a lot happening. The Blackstone Valley is very vital. I'm excited about Restaurant Week. Tom Maroli is chairman. He's handling the whole Restaurant Week. And we'll be starting, when better weather comes, our open for business meetings. We've got one slated for June for Northbridge. We've got one in Mendon in the spring. And we're really going to be promoting all aspects of the Blackstone Valley.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
And we're going to have you back to announce all these things as we
Yep,
get later
as it
into the year.
progresses,
Of course,
sure.
if you listen in on Sundays, 12:30
On WCRN.
on WCRN, 8:30 radio, you'll be able to hear Jeannie's updates.
Yeah.
All
Please
right.
come to the expo. It's
And
next
yes,
Saturday,
let's see
the
you all
16th.
at the expo. a
March
week
16th,
From, March
yeah,
16th,
10
a
to
week
2.
from this Saturday, and the long-term forecast is for 50 degrees and sunny.
That's right. Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's going to be great. Spring's around the corner.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.